Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Michigan sees another concerning rise in COVID-19 cases, and the First Lady confirms Barron Trump also tested positive.
He was doing all the right things. Family, friends, and an entire school district mourning a high school student gone too soon.
New information in the plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. We're getting our first look at how the defense attorneys in the case plan to present a much different story.
But we begin with breaking news from East Point.
Mara McDonald is live on the scene of a shooting at a home on Veronica Avenue, not far from 8 Mile and Kelly. Mara.
Kimberly, first of all, take a look behind me. East Point police have quite a scene on their hands here. They've got about a half a block radius taped off with yellow crime scene tape. We've got a wrecker coming in here trying to get in here and take that Tahoe that you see out of here that was involved in the shooting. Now, police aren't confirming anything on the record. We have heard some things off the record, but because they're not double, triple confirmed, I'm not going to go there. But I will tell you this. Neighbors heard an argument, an incredibly loud argument out in the middle of the street this afternoon between two people, so much so that a lot of them went to the window to see what was going on. And then the next thing they knew, they heard round after round of shots fired. I mean, we're talking well more than 10 rounds fired. At least one person has been taken to the hospital in, I would call it critically grave condition. We are waiting for an update from police. People here in this neighborhood are simply shocked. This is not something that happens on this street. And when that argument went down out here, I mean, so it was so loud and so in people's faces on the street that they came out to look and they could not believe with what they heard happen next. So we're waiting for an update from East Point Police. At least one person in critically grave condition after a shooting, after some sort of argument in the middle of the street. We are live in East Point. I'm Mara McDonald. Jason, Kimberly, back to you.
Yeah, all right, Mara, definitely a developing situation there. Yeah. Our other top story here at 5. Was this really an intricate plan to kidnap the governor or just a whole lot of talk? That's the argument we could soon see play out in court.
And it all started with the attorney for Ty Garbin, who's known for defending another well-known group accused of plotting to overthrow the government. So let's get to defender Sean Lay live tonight. And Sean, that attorney was successful in defending them.
And that is a big key in today's development, Kimberly. Listen, yesterday in court, jaws dropped as the FBI presented a mountain of evidence, but defense attorneys called it just a snapshot and all of it just talk. Tonight, we're asking a law enforcement expert about how the defense is shaping up.
She's a family and kids, and for them to either try to kill her, kidnap her.
Steve Dolan has a lifetime of law enforcement under his belt as he follows the case of the plot to allegedly kidnap or kill Governor Whitmer. Now the defense of the men charged is taking shape. In court, one defense attorney calling the men crackpots, saying it was all just talk.
Defense's job, though, is to ensure not that they get off, they get a fair trial.
And the defense of one man involved, Heartland's Ty Garbin, is shaping up. He's hired one of the attorneys who successfully defended the Hutari, an Adrian, Michigan group the FBI accused of planning a violent revolt. In this case, the FBI says they have 100+ hours of audio of the group planning to attack the Capitol and kidnap the governor. 3 men from Metro Detroit are heard that they allegedly favored shooting the governor. The FBI says some of the men surveilled the governor's summer home and some made practice explosive devices. The 3 men from Metro Detroit, the FBI says, were key players. The FBI presenting a mountain of evidence that they were close to putting the plan in action.
These are intelligent people, a lot of them, and they unfortunately watch social media and buy into everything.
What Steve Dolan is talking about is the alleged domestic terrorist living right next door here in Metro Detroit. Here's what to look for going forward. The U.S. attorney for that district said he may release some of the evidence that was presented in federal court, and that could come as early as tomorrow. We'll be watching for that, and we'll show it to you as soon as we get it. 2 other defendants, they have bond hearings that will continue on Friday. We, of course, will have that covered for you. We're live tonight. Sean Lay, Local 4 Defenders.
Okay, Sean. Well, tonight the family of a man shot and killed at a Detroit gas station are demanding answers and action.
It comes after police say Joshua Lewis was fatally shot by the gas station's clerk at 7 Mile, that's near Harper. Our Victor Williams was there today and shows us how two very different accounts of what happened are starting to emerge here. Victor.
Well, all the people that you see right here behind me are here because of an injustice that they believe happened at this gas station, resulting in the death of a person at the hands of an 18-year-old with an AK-47.
It's tragic for us. I've never lost someone so close.
The family of Joshua Lewis is still coming to terms with his death here at this 76 gas station.
My son loved life. He loved everybody.
Talk about it, Mama.
He was a husband. He was a father.
Talk about it, Mama.
Joshua was allegedly shot and killed by a teenage clerk Monday night, apparently over a dispute involving one of the machines inside the business.
And according to the family and according to community folk, he was shaking the machine trying to get a return on some of his money.
While initial reports say Lewis may have been robbing the store, it said a hammer was found near his body along with a bag containing an unknown amount of money. Regardless, community members believe he did not deserve to die.
So he should have stayed behind the safety of his glass.
That's right.
And called the police if he was shoplifting. That didn't give him a right to take somebody's life.
To make matters worse, witnesses say the 18-year-old clerk shot Lewis from behind the bulletproof glass with an AK-47, killing him. But there's still a lot of confusion into what really happened. In response, multiple organizations like New Era Detroit and the People's Action aren't wasting any time by making sure no one does business here anytime soon.
They're shut down indefinitely. That's why you see the community here.
And these groups have one primary demand for the owner of the gas station.
You pay this family restitution and you pay for the homegoing of our brother. We're going to start there.
In the meantime, the clerk who killed Lewis has been arrested while the family continues to search for closure.
He didn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that.
No
He shot
one
my
deserved
son down like a dog. And we the one make you rich.
And the organizations that gathered here today are doing more than just responding to these incidents that have happened at gas stations before. They're saying that they have sensitivity training along with cultural training for all clerks free of charge. Victor Williams, Local 4.
All right, Victor. And late this afternoon, Chief James Craig weighed in on this, saying his officers believe there was no threat to the clerk's life and the clerk should have simply called police.
New at 5, the First Lady now confirming her son had coronavirus at the same time she and the president did. The White House initially said 14-year-old Barron Trump had tested negative, but the First Lady says he did get a positive result after repeated tests. Mrs. Trump says Barron is a strong teenager, did not have symptoms, and has since tested negative.
After yesterday's warning that we could be seeing the start of a second wave, today's coronavirus case numbers seem to reflect that a little. In all, 1,359 new cases have been confirmed in the past 24 hours. That's 122 more than yesterday. And along with that, the state is reporting 13 new deaths from COVID-19.
Following negotiations that lasted into the overnight hours, the state legislature has passed bills that would extend several pieces of Governor Whitmer's executive orders. It comes after the Michigan Supreme Court struck down the law she used to make those orders. One measure extends unemployment benefits to 26 weeks during the pandemic. Another backs liability protections for businesses that are sued over coronavirus infections. Lawmakers also passed legislation requiring stricter policies at nursing homes and allowing public boards to continue meeting online. The bills now head to the governor's desk. The superintendent of Detroit schools says he was a young man doing all the right things.
Early Tuesday morning, Jaheim Griffin, a junior at Pershing High School, was hit and killed while driving home from his job at McDonald's. Our Paula Tutman spoke to his grieving mother just a short time ago. Paula?
This young man was on such an incredible trajectory, and the people who knew and loved him most say that means this is a loss to everyone, even those who don't know him. There are good students, and then there are good students who are good people. And Jaheim Griffin was one of those people.
He truly believed in creating a better world, not just being in a better world, but he felt like he had a role in creating that better world.
He was the student that was the role model, that everybody looked up to.
And for those who knew Jaheim, his loss is a hole, the size of the universe in the universe.
And he was like a role model to me. He was like a role model to me.
Jaheim, bro, I know you watching me, and I never got to told you, bro, I love you so much, bro, and I appreciate you, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I love you so much, bro. I'm sorry.
The Pershing High School senior was a passenger in his pal's vehicle. The three friends heading home from work late Monday night when the vehicle somehow got away from the teenagers and struck a pole. Deshaun Greer and Christopher Burks were seriously injured with broken bones, one suffering a broken neck. Jaheim did not survive. At such a young age, his resume was already long. Honor Roll, National Honor Society, Student Leadership, GM Student Corps, varsity, football, basketball, cross country, and baseball.
If there's a word to describe him, he was a leader.
And yet, his greatest accomplishment thus far had simply been great human being.
You know, he made me better as a person. You know, and when you have a student that teaches the teacher, you know he's someone special.
And if those at school are aching this badly, you can certainly imagine the pain of a parent.
He was just a unique kid, like very unique. Smart. When I say smart, overly smart. Some of the conversations I used to have with him, I used to figure out, like, how can you have this conversation with me? Where are you getting this from?
Jaheim came out as a preemie. He was 6.5 months early. He weighed 2.5 pounds. He was fighting. It was nothing that he felt like he could not accomplish. It was nothing, no obstacles or anything. When he walked into the room, he was quiet, but he was a star.
The Detroit Public Schools Community District has actually set up a help page for the family, and we're going to put a link to that on all of our social media platforms. But certainly, I mean, we wish this family peace and swift healing. This is such an incredible loss. Guys, back to you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, Paula. Sad story for sure. Well, we are just getting warmed up on this Wednesday, or are we, Ben?
So far, not so much. This was our last chance to get to average temperatures, but there's the suspect that may have committed the crime. We'll tell you if we actually can sneak in a technical win coming up.
The stimulus battle playing out in Washington, so what can you do here at home if you need financial help? Help Me Hank talking with the experts, getting you the help you need.
How soon can COVID-19 survivors return to their normal life? Well, it depends. I'm Dr. Frank McGeorge. Coming up, I'll clear up the confusion over how long someone can still spread the virus and whether you need to get tested again or not.